Recently, I just found my stack of CDs while cleaning. As I opened the heavy leather-bound stack and thumbed through the plastic leaves that held my childhood, I was suddenly overcome by an intense wave of nostalgia. All of these CDs that were now obsolete had shaped my childhood. They helped me learn and play and go on adventures, all from the comfort of the one desktop we had in the computer room. While I blissfully remembered these times, it hit me. There were some crucial CDs that were missing. See, back in the day, CDs were coveted and the games were replayed over and over and over again. So I knew the collection like the back of my hand. That's how I knew some were missing. The CDs in question were varied and didn't have the same genre or theme. The only substantial clue I had was that one of the games was Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? And there was another game about these little blue monster things, but that was it. I had a hazy memory of them being given out to me for free from a sandwich shop, maybe. As I racked my brain, I Googled Subway to no avail. Then I remembered that they weren't from Subway at all. They were actually from Quiznos. For those that are unfamiliar, Quiznos is a US-based fast food chain specializing in sub sandwiches. They are still relatively successful sandwich brand, but when I was growing up, they seemed to be everywhere. Regardless, I was pretty certain that they were the ones giving out free CDs with their kids' meals. Looking this up on YouTube garnered nothing, but honestly, I don't blame the algorithm for not understanding the search term Quiznos free CD games. Curious, I transferred my hunt to Google. The first result was a Reddit post from 3 years ago where the Reddit user Jax Kerr, who asked, "Can't find a picture on the whole internet, but does anyone remember getting CDs with a demo version of PC games at Quiznos? I have very fond memories of going to the, in parentheses, now closed and decrepit, Quiznos subs near my house. I would get a toasted sub kids meal, and I remembered getting a demo disc for a PC game, possibly the Finding Nemo one, and one with an animated car. This is the only reference I could find. Attached was a link to a Yahoo Answers page. Unfortunately, this link only led to a Yahoo Answers homepage and did not show any additional information about the game. Below this post, a commenter responded saying, "I remember getting a mini Bionicle game / movie disc for my PC when I bought those things." To which Jaxker replied, "Man, I would kill to find one of those." This was the end of the thread, but it further piqued my interest because, like Jaxer, I would also kill to find some of those games or really just to know more information about their existence. Scanning further through the Google results, I found a page called Jumpstart and Quiznos on a fan wiki for the organization Jumpstart. The name Jumpstart rang some bells in my head. In the post from 2016, the OP Blue Cake discussed how they had seen some Jumpstart products marketed on Quiznos products starting around 2003. Specifically, Blue Cake inserts a picture of a Quiznos Kids meal page with a picture of a Jumpstart's character named Casey. In the photo, the OP remarks how it seems like there was a game bundle called Jumpstart 3-Ring Circus. Blue Cake writes how they believe that there were 3 CDs in this pack, but was not sure. They then write that they were curious to find out what discs were in that kid's meal and awaits clarification from any commenters. They then attach a picture of another Jumpstart CD called Jumpstart Jam and Music that contains 14 songs, some of which are from the Jumpstart Animal Adventures. From there, the thread contains some responses from other members congratulating Blue Cake on their find, along with some more information about Jumpstart Jam and Music. Although this thread was not about games, it did confirm that Quiznos was releasing CDs with kids' meals starting in the early 2000s. From there, I wanted to investigate more into the brand Jumpstart and attempt to find out if Jumpstart was responsible for distributing any of these games. Jumpstart, or Jump Ahead, is an educational media franchise geared at creating adaptive curriculum games for children. Starting in 1994, Jumpstart started producing their classic game series of educational gaming programs, such as Jumpstart Kindergarten and Jumpstart First Grade. Gradually, Jumpstart transitioned into more advanced educational games, focusing on phonics and some math. Throughout the late 90s and early 2000s, Jumpstart was on a roll and was producing multiple games each year. The heavy pace of output has slowed down, but Jumpstart is still producing games today. According to the wiki, the last game produced by Jumpstart was in 2019, with the release of the Jumpstart Coding Academy and the launch of their classic series on mobile. Although this prolific franchise was undoubtedly a fixture of many people's childhood and was at some point affiliated with Quiznos, I was still unsure if it was actually the games I was searching for. Examining the characters listed on the wiki, there were a few names and faces that sounded vaguely familiar, but it was not Carmen Sandiego, so I trudged on. Feeling discouraged by my search results for Quiznos Kidz CDs toys, I turned my attention to figure out which Carmen Sandiego game I was thinking of. Although the Quiznos copy was only a free trial and did not include all the game, I was pretty certain I could figure out which game I'd been given. If you've never heard of Carmen Sandiego, she's described by CarmenSandiego.com as the world's greatest jewel thief. And although you would think the job of tracking her down or trying to catch her would be the job of the CIA, MI5, or Interpol, the job would actually be given to children. Regardless of her past transgressions, Carmen is a legend, an icon, and is in fact the moment. Her fashion is impeccable, and it almost makes me want to let her get away with the jewels. Anyway, Carmen has been antagonizing children and stealing from the rich way before it was cool, and has way too many media appearances that could warrant its own video. After doing some digging, I found that there was actually a few separate video games that could be included in the Quiznos Kids meal. Considering if Quiznos started packaging games with their meals around 2003, I narrowed the options down to Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Treasures of Knowledge that released in 2001. Considering that there would not be another Carmen Sandiego game until 2009, this seemed to make the most sense. Additionally, after looking at the cover art and the still images of the game, some unknown piece of my brain unlocked and confirmed my suspicion. In this point-and-click adventure game developed by the Learning Company, Carmen steals a rare Franco-Italian edition of the Travels of Marco Polo and then proceeds to steal amari, wood carving, ink and quipus, and other seemingly random items from a museum. From there, Julia Jules Argent, an experienced Acme detective, and Carmen's former partner, Shadow Hawkins, have to find her, and then hijinks ensue from there. The whole point is to find Marco Polo's lost city, which they end up finding and almost getting locked in there by Carmen before she escapes with the smoke bomb. What a dramatic exit. Leaving the protagonist with a really interesting ethical dilemma for a children's game. To quote more from the Wikipedia, Jules and Shadow debate if Carmen led them to the treasure for ethical reasons or if she is simply a bad person. With this ambiguous ending, I choose to believe that Carmen was actually trying to teach the protagonist about the perils of colonialism and the insidious nature of Marco Polo. All in all, the game got good reviews and was critically lauded, with the Corner Review giving it a 5 out of 5 stars and GameCola giving it a 7 out of 10. Side note, although it was critically acclaimed, the Philadelphia Inquirer called the graphics hopelessly primitive in comparison to other operating systems at the time, which just makes me laugh. Nevertheless, I'd found one of the supposed games, but there was still no concrete evidence that this was in fact one of the Quiznos games. Specifically, I remember there being this game that involved solving puzzles with those little blue alien thingies that lived on a rock island with guardian rocks, which sounds more like a fever dream than an actual game, but nevertheless, I persisted and typed in this weirdness into the search string. Unsurprisingly, nothing came up. Then, as if the heavens had parted, the name Zoomies came to my mind. Although that didn't come up with anything in the Google search terms, it provided me with the name Zoombinis. And this was it. The game that had prompted the search all along with the Carmen Sandiego game. Who knew that these little blue amorphous blobs would cause so much turmoil and inner chaos for me? So, Zambinis is yet another educational puzzle game developed by a company, Turk, that was published by Broderbund. that was eventually bought by the Learning Company, just like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. The Zambinis series consisted of 3 gaming titles: Logical Journey of the Zambinis, released in 1996, Zambinis Mountain Rescue, 2001, and Zambinis Island Odyssey, 2002. These games specifically focused on their namesakes, the Zambinis, as the players guide them to complete puzzles in various locations. The one that falls most in line with my memory and the timeline is the 3rd edition Zambinis Island Odyssey, released in 2002. However, all of the titles look similar and were released within 8 years of each other, so it honestly could have been any of them. In summary, the Zambinis are these little blue creatures with distinct personalities that must defeat or defend themselves from their sworn enemies, the bloats. Much to my delight, there are not only Let's Plays on YouTube, but a comprehensive fan wiki on these strange little blue creatures. Additionally, it seems like you may be able to play an updated version of the Logical Journey of the Zambinis online, but I didn't confirm that. Regardless, I felt accomplished that I had found my long-lost piece of media. As for the Quiznos connections, there seems to be a bit of a theme. All 3 game franchises were educational puzzle games, except for the Bionicles CD mentioned by the Reddit user Jaxcar. Additionally, at least for the Zambinis and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, the Learning Company was either the developer or the publisher associated with those games. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine a CEO of Quiznos trying to compete with the Happy Meal toys of McDonald's and Burger King, brokering a deal with these gaming companies to give out free trial CDs to children as a way to amplify their kids' meals. The CDs were perfect for children and would also entice their parents with their educational slant. However, it must be remarked that some children may not have had computers to use these CDs with and may have preferred a tangible toy. For that fact, it may be a good thing that Quiznos decided to stop offering these CDs as toy options, but I still don't know why there are no trace of these CDs existing, leading some of us to have serious doubts about our memory, myself included. Anyway, I'm glad that I could shed some light on this situation and prove to myself that these CDs actually did exist in some capacity. While doing this research, I was really interested in why there weren't any kind of these secondhand toy CDs around. I couldn't find any, basically. I mean, I might have just not been looking in the right places, but it did strike me as odd. And I couldn't see if I had any. I might have had some somewhere, but if anyone knows, or if anyone has any, please let me know. I would love to play these games and try to rekindle some kind of lost childhood. But also, if you have any other Quiznos games that you could think of that you played back in the day, please also let me know.